Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host here, Chantele Francis. Up top with me today, and most days, is Michelle Nash. How you doing, Nash?
I'm doing good. Another great episode, another fun time. This is great. Yeah.
100%. And Fanta, bring it in from the bottom. How are you doing today?
I am doing so well. This season just makes me giddy.
Giddy. Yeah, that's like the word. It makes me happy. I think, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think this is my favorite episode of the season so far. Hot take?
It was like, well, I don't know. It mixed emotions for sure. But such a good episode. Definitely.
I think it's because I laughed hard, and you guys know where I probably laughed hard, and we were going to talk about it a lot, but I laughed really hard at a certain part of this episode. So I think that part is what makes me like, oh my God, this episode was so good. So good. So it's called Free Falling. This is episode 6 of the Challenge All-Stars, and it's actually making me sad, though, that we literally have 3 episodes left. We get told that next week is the final, normal elimination, and then we're into the final to, on episode 8 and 9. And so we can speculate after.
Some sort of purge.
Yeah, exactly.
What's going to be? They'll probably get to the final or whatever, and then cut half of them or something. You got to make it past this point, and then the ones that can't run will just be eliminated.
Kind of I just was watching Battle of the X's and how they had if you didn't get to the checkpoint first, or if you got there last, you would be eliminated and you wouldn't be able to continue on. I wouldn't be surprised if it would be kind of elimination style like that to get to at least to the final 3, and then they do a normal final style. But this episode, Free Falling, and they just start with the music. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. And I was just yes, walk into the house to this song. I'm just I just love the music choices. I feel like the editors are having fun editing these people and this show and just crafting it in a way that's so fun. So fun.
Oh, absolutely. And I find out of everyone that I've talked to, because I've recently started talking to a friend where I was like, hey, the All-Stars has started, because she stopped watching the main season. She was like, I don't really know these people anymore. it's just not the same. So I was like, you got to watch the All-Stars. And we've been texting every week, and every week she's just the music. I want the soundtrack. This is awesome. Anyone that I talked to was the music.
Even Darrel, I think, was even saying that. Oh no, was it Darrel? I don't know. I was watching somebody. It was one of the OGs. It could have been Wes or Bananas as well. And they were just saying the music of this season's so good, and it really is helping the arc of and the enjoyment of watching these OGs. Definitely. So Jemmye says that she enjoys a good twist. And so this is talking about the twist of the lightsaber not being used anymore, and that every elimination moving forward was going to be a double elimination. We kind of talked about it last week, but do you agree with Jemmye? Do you love a good twist?
If it's good.
If it's good.
Yeah, and I mean, she loves, because that's what makes the game is certain twists and drama and stuff. And for her, she's in a pretty good spot where it's going to be hard for her to get put into an elimination, especially since she never volunteers to be captain, that there's just bigger fish to fry and other fish to fry. I think that she's really good socially to we've seen some good maneuvers with her. So I think she's hoping to not have to go in at all herself. And she's great, other people will go in. Perfect.
And a good twist too. It allows her to have more tools to manipulate other people. It's okay, I know the new rules. Okay, with the new rules, what's the best strategy to get myself further along in the game? And so I think that also excites her, figuring out how she can put herself in the best position. So
yeah.
Sam is joining us. Hi, Sam. And Kendall strikes again. She does, and she's on my draft. Thank you. Hi, Jorge. I also loved how Katie and Latterian were hugging the rest of the cast. I like just how friendly they all are, despite that it's a competition. Yes, we're going to talk about that a lot because some of the things that happened has been a point of arguments with, integrity and all this stuff with people in the community. So we will talk more about the Katie of it all. But actually in the beginning, we see Katie and Jonna talking about like being weak and how people are perceiving them to be weak, and that it could be an advantage them being weak, because then maybe people are not going to want to call them out to go help them in an elimination, since their game would be on the line. So what do you think about them starting to say this and starting to learn how they can use this new twist to their advantage?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's such a cool twist because it really does flip things on its head. It's like seeming not great as a competitor is going to make sure that you don't have to go into as many eliminations. Imagine if it was in the season now and Fess is going to be like, oh, everyone wants to pick me every single time, or like whatever. It's like there's different elements to the strategy. And I wish like they would implement something like this for like a bigger, longer challenge, because there's just so much. We're getting this twist, but we're only getting it for like 2 weeks, and then it's going to be.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. I think honestly, like out of, it's been quite a long time since we've gotten a twist in a challenge where I was like, oh my God, I'm blown away. This is so good. But you're right. We only get it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely bummed that we don't have it for longer. And this, like, had this episode up, I was like, man, I wish this season was, like, maybe 2 episodes longer. I know you were saying that, like, it keeps us wanting more, but I just want, like, a little bit more. I would have loved to have 4 episodes where people could start using this new twist in part of their strategy before we got to the final, which is a completely different game. Because there was potential for this twist to cause a lot of drama, and we didn't really get the opportunity to see it used to its maximum potential at all. So we got the moment that we were speculating about last week. We see a little canoodling session between Latterian and Anissa, and Latterian maybe stating that he gets a little bit turned on by the fact that she has bruised knuckles, and she calls him her aggressive teddy bear. What do you think about this new love relationship, interest?
I'm obsessed. I'm absolutely obsessed. I love it so much. I love like the idea of like, I mean, I'm always here for like whatever hookups Anissa has, but I'm like, I really, really like that because like, yeah, like it softens Latterian up. Like you don't really like see that side of him, and you could literally just see him like kind of like thawing and just being like putting his arm around her. And like, I was like, like, I really wanted to see that like for the rest of the season. So obviously I was like disappointed at how everything played out, but obsessed, love it.
And what about the fact that like he really wanted to brush his teeth, but I think it was Mark was in the washroom, and I think it was so they could kiss.
Yeah,
so cute. I love that relationship. Go ahead.
Like serious about it, but I guess that goes along with like there was somebody like in the comments an episode ago that said that Latterian's mom is like really strict, and he's like still like really by the book with her. So you could just see like that struggle, which was really interesting.
Also, I have an update. I'm sure you guys know about this, but I was reading in multiple places. I don't know if maybe we sent it to each other. Who knows? That Alton definitely was in a relationship coming into the season, and definitely is still in a relationship. But he like doesn't have social media or anything. But like first I heard, he was married, but I don't know if he was actually married, but someone he has a kid with who he's still with, I think.
But hasn't Jisela been saying that they are still dating or seeing each other?
She hasn't. That's the thing. She hasn't technically. She's just been posting photos of him and stuff, but not current things of them together. Things from the show, stills from the show and stuff, and being like, "Oh, there's my boy," like or whatever. But like she's not tagging him. Like he doesn't have Instagram. That's still
like really like crazy. Like for her to be like posting like stuff to be like.
Oh, I mean, okay. To be fair, perhaps. He's no longer with the other person. Like maybe that would make more sense. I don't know for sure what the details are, but I do know he was in something serious before. Oh so I don't know. I mean, who knows what their actual situation is?
It's like so crazy to me. Like it is one thing to cheat, but like to just like do it on TV when you were just fully in a relationship, like
Well, okay, we don't necessarily know the terms of their relationship, and so maybe they're in an open relationship. Maybe he was allowed to do whatever he needed to do to potentially win the money. Like maybe they could have some agreement. We don't know officially if he stepped out of the relationship, and it's like,
yeah, but the fact that he doesn't mention the relationship in any of his confessionals or anything is also kind of strange. But also, like, he's not super, some people aren't super open about their personal lives. I mean, I don't know. He hasn't been saying, like, I love Jisela. Remember, like, the way he would speak about Irulan in the confessionals and stuff? I just feel like he's kind of holding back in the confessionals, and I wonder what's behind that,
Tell us, Alton. Tell us. We need to know more. We get to the challenge, the daily for this week's episode, and it's actually such a good challenge. I loved it. Basically, they're going to be split into teams of 4, and they're going to be like half of them, so 8, like 2 teams are going to be suspended in the air in kind of these like rectangular boxes. They each have their own puzzle piece, the puzzle that they have to solve, and then they have a trap on the bottom. This is all they need to make an amazing challenge. Fanta, what did you have to say about it?
I was obsessed. I think this was my favorite one. Like, I just love the idea of like the anticipation of like not knowing like the floors are gonna like cut loose. And like poor Katie, like this entire season, every challenge has just been suspended over water. Like, that's so savage.
And even if you get the puzzle correct, you're still gonna drop. So there's no like push to try to finish it. Like, yeah, I'd be stressed. Like when you put the little stars and like pop goes whatever. It's like you want to do it, but even if I do it, it doesn't matter because I'm still gonna fall. Like, so you still are so stressed. Like, I was so anxious watching it. I thought it was hilarious. And when they did drop, it was just so abrupt.
Yes.
Oh my God. Like, they'd be in the middle of like talking, like Jemmye's like, but what about this? God.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
It was so funny.
Like, yeah, I remember Alton like turns over and then just all of a sudden is gone.
So funny.
Good one. Like, keep that one around.
Absolutely. Hey, ladies, I was determined not to miss another live stream. Thank you, Speaking the Truth, for coming to hang out with us. And maybe you have some more tea about Latterian's living situation. And maybe you know anything about Alton's living situation because you seem to know some good tea.
Yeah, I mean, Latterian did say in this episode, I'm a single man.
Yeah.
He said that. So that to me, I was like, great, good for you. And he wasn't even, they were just cuddling, you know what I mean? Like, anyways.
Oh my God.
You were robbed?
We were robbed.
Yeah, we were robbed. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, I was going to use that if we didn't see that, then, they're going to be both safe for the elimination. And when I saw that right at the beginning, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be, they're going to be broken apart. I don't know who's going to go in next, yet, but I feel as though they're showing this to us because we're not going to see any more of this relationship grow. Boo!
Really? I thought the opposite.
But your individual success.
Again?
I thought the opposite.
You thought that this was like the beginning of them growing in a relationship and seeing more?
Yes, but then I was like conflicted because I was like, they couldn't, like, this has got to progress more. Yeah, like there could beat, but no, they couldn't beat Mark. Like, I was just doing that like the whole time.
Yeah,
like,
I honestly, this episode more than any other, I actually was like, what the hell is gonna happen? Because I mean, we'll get to it. I guess I'll just wait because it gets to like after the challenge. But like, I was very like conflicted as to like how I felt and what I wanted to happen and what I thought was gonna happen. Yeah.
So I remember last week you were looking at the teams and feeling as though they weren't well balanced. So how did you find these teams? So gold was Ruthie, Big Easy, Jonna, and Latterian. Silver was Jisela, Alton, Kellyanne, and Darrel. Copper was Katie, Yes, Anissa, and Derrick. And black was Mark, Kendall, Nehemiah, and Jemmye.
Yeah, I thought they were way more balanced this time. Personally, I thought they were way more balanced this time.
I agree. I was like, oh my God, like, Michelle and Chantele are gonna shit a brick if these teams are the same as before.
Yeah.
Like,
They're not this time around. One thing I thought was really interesting. So with this new twist, there's a little bit more strategy with choosing to be the captain or not, because the captain of the winning team, they're going to be both safe. Captains of the losing team would be going directly into the arena. And so Kellyanne was like, ooh, Darrel wants to be a captain. I'll be a captain. So if we lose and have to go in, at least I have the person who I think is the best in the house on my side. So I like that there's an extra added layer and like reason behind you'd want to be a captain.
Definitely. I was like, yes, Kellyanne. Kellyanne is so smart. And I didn't watch this week's after show, but watching some of the other ones, she's just so like, all the other ones are totally made up, makeup, hair, the whole shebang, like so set up. And she's always just like frizzy hair, just like in a plain tee, just kind of like, she's really not that like witty or anything, but she's just real. And like, I just find it hilarious. I think she's like really good strategy and just actually enjoys the strategy of the game.
Yeah, she's having a good time.
I'm in love.
Ooh, okay. So yes, I did watch the after show, but
ooh, what tea?
I don't remember the tea. I mean, I wrote down some notes about it. So when we get to the end, I guess we can talk about any tea. I can't think of any tea right now, but I don't know. We'll see what my notes say. And so, okay, so the team captains are going to be Ruthie and Big Easy, Kellyanne and Darrel, as I said, Katie and Yes, and then Mark and Kendall. So the teams are starting to look quite strong. And I'm like, ooh, any of these teams losing, I don't really want anybody to go home, really. And so they're all, filling out these puzzles and falling, and Katie just like flips her pieces over, and she's just so scared that she just wants to make sure that she doesn't have an awkward fall or bash her head on anything. And so she's just like ready to fall right away, and she doesn't even attempt to try to put her puzzle together. Some other people seem like they got their puzzle together, but when they were showing it, it looked as though color-wise they weren't exactly matched up. Like it didn't look perfect. And so I'm assuming that's why other people didn't win or get it correct. And Kendall, okay, this is a question. So Kendall's got it seemingly correct, but she had the letter upside down. I believe her letter was the letter E, and it was upside down, but all the pieces were in the right configuration. So do you think that Kendall should have gotten any props or, considered?
Not necessarily, but at the same time, I was like, if Big Easy was the only one who got it right, how much did they determine who got last out of the other three teams? Was it, as you said, who got the most pieces correct? And if so, she would probably have a lot of pieces correct. But then I was
actually she'd have no pieces correct, because if she needed to go like this with everything.
Because of the colors. That's what I was thinking. I was like, maybe the whole thing needed to be flipped, which would make all of them in the wrong spot. So I don't know. But I mean,
were you guys
easy?
I was like, what are you doing? Like, I have so many mixed feelings about Kendall.
I know.
Total nut bar. I love watching her compete.
Common sense, though.
The common sense, I'm like, bitch, change this.
Just try.
Like, on what planet do you think that like any puzzle that you would have to complete for anything ever would be upside down?
Will be allowed to be upside down. Oh, maybe I'll. Yeah,
so
that was really.
I was like, what?
That was pretty dumb. And I have to say, honestly, like this kind of pains me to say, but props to Big Easy. I mean, like. He's the only one who did it. He was trying to help the rest of his team. I forgot, like he was never like a puzzle pro, but he was always like fine at them, but he never really had the chance because whatever. But I guess he just in his life just like does puzzles while he's doing whatever he does in his life. I don't know what he does. But clearly he knows his shit because he's good with letters and mixing them up and that kind of stuff. And he's really good with puzzles. It's impressive. I don't know, man. If he makes it to the final, I mean, he'll probably gas out. But if he doesn't, like,
it's interesting that you say that where you're like, okay, props to Big Easy, because like none of us like really like him. But one thing that I found really humanizing in this episode was like in his confessional when he was talking and he was like, I've spent more than half of my life broke. And that hit me. I was like, damn, like because you can really like dislike somebody so much and they say something like that and you're like, man, like,
let's give him a break. He needs a break.
You're a person, and I'm sure like the reason why he's always had such a shitty attitude is probably attributed to that. So yeah, I'm with you on that. Like that was really humanizing, and I just saw Eric in like a completely different light. And then him being the only person to solve that, and him getting emotional when he won that, like it was just so much bigger than that. So that was like, I would say like the highlight, like a big highlight.
And especially since like he expected like the week before people were trying to throw him in, and he knew that he's an at-risk person. Like Jemmye's been very open about how, yeah, I don't want to compete against him. Like he has a reputation for being terrible, especially in finals, you know? And he just like has the friends. But yeah, it was a moment for him to prove himself. And you're totally right. When he was saying the thing about being broke, I'm like, wow, that's such a thing that most people on the challenge these days like can't relate to in the same way. A lot of them have so much money. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them do, and they make more money and all that. And
yeah,
man.
It's very different because you think about, like even if you go on the challenge, like, and you don't win money and you're actively not winning money, it doesn't really matter because you can monetize your social media to be able to do that. Like that didn't exist then. So these people were really just going on this show. Like I remember I was like rewatching Ruins or whatever. And like, right, like when Brad and Tori got engaged, and like they have, or it was a season before, but anyway, they were getting in this argument because Brad just like didn't have a job. And like, it was like really, really stressful. And it's like all of those problems that people would go on the challenge and they'd be like, I have to win this money. Like I have to.
And it was not a lot of money comparatively to what they're playing for now.
Yeah.
And even like their stipends, I'm sure that like they get appearance fees. A lot of these people, like, hey, if you come back, you get $10,000 just for showing up, and then like every week that you stay, you get $5,000, like whatever. I don't know what anybody's contracts say, but like I'm sure that that's different than it was back then, where you just were showing up because you love the show, you love your friends, you can maybe win 50 grand and have a nice summer vacation. So definitely things have changed. But, you know, seeing that Big Easy is coming back to change his life potentially, to really like he's taking this as an opportunity to not be broke for the second half of his life. And so, yeah, I definitely was pretty happy, slightly, not as emotional as I usually get for people, but a little bit of emotion for Big Easy, like accomplishing something that most people, actually everybody else, couldn't accomplish. And so I was happy that they had to find somebody else to throw in, because Ruthie, who was the other team captain on their team, was also safe. So they're going to have to figure something else out, because Big Easy and Ruthie are not there to be your scapegoat. So I loved that, just breaking up people's plans. So Jorge's saying about Kendall's puzzle is that not only she had it backwards, but some people on her team did not even have more than half of the puzzle done. So I wish what they did was, because they had those little like special effects that were showing like the puzzle when they were like describing the challenge. Why didn't they show maybe in green highlighting which pieces everybody got correct or something, just so I can understand how they could judge who did badly and who did well? Like, how did they know who was in the bottom teams? And I would like to know, was it on a timer, like how people dropped? Like, was it all exactly the same? Like, how did they also decide when people were dropping? You guys don't know either? Okay.
No, I don't know, but I do think that they dropped at the same time. It seemed like they always went at a preconceived time. I think it was just planned out that way. But in terms of, yeah, I do wish they had shown which ones were correct and incorrect and like highlighted it in a way to make it obvious for us. But
me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Okay, so what else happened next? Okay, we get to the deliberation, and I have mixed feelings about what went down there, because Katie says, vote me in because I didn't even do the puzzle and I just stood there waiting to fall. I don't want to take this opportunity away from anybody else. So you're shaking your head. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, because I mean, Jemmye said it like the best, and like in her confessional, like she said a couple of episodes ago, like, no, this isn't a noble thing to do. Like, stop doing that. I can't play my game if you continue to do this. And I agree. And I love that Kellyanne stepped up and was like, okay, well, that's what you want, but like, what about everybody else? Because it is deliberation. What's the point of even having deliberation if you're like, oh, it's just me, I'm gonna go
And
in.
if you're exactly, and if you're friends with all the people she's friends with and you're in alliance with them, you leaving is a number away from their votes. So like it could like if I'm like, hey, just vote me in, then it's like, hey, you guys might need me for a vote for later down the road. So you should always be trying to protect everyone in your alliance. So yeah, I don't think it was good gameplay, but it made it less paid, like no one got in fights. So like part of me was just like, you know, like whatever. But at the same time, I was like,
yeah. So a lot of people are coming for Katie, being like, why are you coming to the show? You're just gonna quit and you keep on throwing yourself in. And Jemmye saying like the point of these games is to avoid elimination. Like you don't want to go in because you're trying to get to the end and win the money. And so I totally agree with this. But I think the difference, because Jemmye was saying, you know, this version of Katie wouldn't even recognize herself, like from the past till now, like it's a completely different person. Why are you laughing?
Well, I'm laughing because like it's also not necessarily true. Like there were times where Katie did that exact thing. Like she was like, well, it was above water. Like I didn't really do any. And she's like, I would rather like fight on the ground. She has done that before in the past. So it's kind of, she's just not like drunk and shouting at everybody, which
yeah, it isn't her. And to be fair, like she's got a lot of friends in All Stars, right? But when she was on the show, a lot of the time she had a lot of enemies because she got in a lot of fights and all of that, especially with the females, like fights with Veronica, fights with whoever. And she got thrown into elimination so many times to the point that she was like, whatever, I'm just going to win to like prove you wrong. And so I agree. I think that like she really likes the elimination part of doing the challenge even more than dailies because they can't be that high off the ground really or above water. So
and it's always for her challenge experience. Like you're saying, Michelle, has been a big fuck you. Like, you're going to throw me in, I'm going to come out. And so I think that she's actually even more comfortable with being, you know, the social pariah of the house that everybody hates that just keep on throwing in because she's not scared of elimination. And I think because the fact that she is friends with these people, she likes all these people. We learned that she really likes them enough to not flip them off when she was leaving. Like, I think that it's changing her way of approaching the whole challenge. She's like, oh, well, I've never really been on the challenge where I wasn't the most hated. I never had to play this game to win. I was always playing for survival. So I think if she came back again, I think that she might be able to switch and be more like, oh, let me have a self-preservation mode here, because she's just used to going in and proving herself. And so when she realized that she doesn't really have to do that to get to the end in this version of the challenge, maybe she'll change her game up. Maybe. Hopefully.
Maybe.
So
I mean, if she'll come back again, because I don't know if I was that deathly afraid of heights.
I mean, they're doing a controller.
Like, she did say on the show and like also after on Twitter that like she's so happy she did it and it was like her favorite challenge. But I do agree with you. It might have just been like a nostalgic thing for her and she's not going to go back. But we'll see.
Maybe, though. It's still a lot of money opportunity.
I don't think she's coming back.
For 2 weeks?
I say no on Katie and no on Teck. I don't think she's coming back.
Okay. Well, I'll stop crossing my fingers then. So I didn't mention, but Mark and Kendall were the two that had the team captains of the most losingest team. And so this is who Katie's going to be going in against. And so this is also why in the deliberation, people were a little bit worried, being like, wait, Katie, I don't think can take Kendall. And so who's going to want to go in against Mark here with Katie as their partner? And so that's also why Kellyanne's bringing this up. It's like, this is your matchup. Your matchup is Mark.
Yeah, and like you're volunteering to go up against your friend of however many years who just saved you. Like, you're going against them. So like, I don't know, man. It was like there were more factors to the decision. And You know, I knew from the get, I was like, she's not going to pick anyone she's super connected to. Like,
No.
she's definitely going to pick one of the other guys.
I knew right away. I was like, there's literally nobody else she could pick other than Latterian. I knew right away.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking pretty immediately. And, you know, we'll learn also that Latterian kind of offers himself up. And I think that that was to do the same kind of Syrus thing where it's like, well, I'm going to be the honorable guy and I'm going to go down and I'm going to like fight with my friend. And it's like, just so that if he weren't to win, it would be like I was doing the noble and the honorable thing here.
Yeah, but she also picked him because she isn't as close to him as she is with Derrick or Darrel or whoever. So I just felt like he was doing it as like, oh, she's my friend and whatever. But I don't know that she sees him that way. Maybe she does, but it didn't really seem like
not on her end.
Cares as much. And, you know, I think that as a whole, her other options were, I thought maybe she picked like Nehemiah or Alton, but then I was like, well, as soon as Latterian offered it, I'm like, that's easy. She doesn't have to piss anyone off. She's already making this choice to not piss anyone off because she likes them all and she's having a good time, but she also misses her kids and misses her husband and like, you know, is like, cool, I had this experience. So I think she was like going into it, she was going to give it her all, but she was like going to accept either outcome.
Mm-hmm. So before the deliberation, Mark and Kendall, Jemmye, and Nehemiah were discussing who they wanted to go against. And Mark was saying like he didn't care who he's going against. And Kendall couldn't really decide. And he was basically leaving it up to her to see what girl she might want to be going up against since it was a girls' elimination. And so do you think that Kendall should have maybe chosen someone? I know we know the results of this arena, but like, do you think there was a better person that she could have maybe gone up with for her game moving forward?
Yeah, definitely. She should have said she wanted to request Jisela because Jisela has been openly just being like, I'm against you and I don't like you and I don't want you here. So it would make sense for her to try to go against someone like that. But I think there's like risk involved with that because they're different sizes and depending on what it is, Jisela like man to man could beat her. So I don't know. I think game wise, yes, because she was friends with Katie. So anyone else could have been better or a lot of other people could have been better for her maybe.
Definitely.
What were we going to say, Fanta?
No, yeah. I mean, I was just going to say who was talking to Kendall about that. Somebody was talking to Kendall about that and they were like, yeah, like it could go either way. And the fact that it could go either way, like if it's a size, if it's an elimination where size is important, but also like, yeah, that could work to benefit or disadvantage. There's so many different little factors there. And
yeah. And if she was like sorry, go ahead.
Telling Kendall that makes things like 100 times worse because she can't really process information very well.
Yeah, like think about it logically. If Kellyanne was in elimination, I don't know, she'd probably make the smartest choice for her to stay, but I'm sure she would consider trying to get Kendall against her because Kendall is the only person in a final that will beat her endurance-wise. And she knows that. She's made that very clear. And if Kellyanne could take her out, she'd probably consider that option. She might do something else safer, but she's smart and savvy game-wise. Whereas Kendall is probably a bit better than her with endurance and some stuff, but like totally clueless when it comes to strategy. Totally clueless.
Hi, Andrea. So Andrea says, I think Katie volunteered because she knew she wasn't going to win and wanted to take out Latterian or yes for Mark, Derrick, and Darrel. I mean, this is a fair fact. She could be falling on her sword for her friends here, especially since she talks about how she didn't really, like, she just enjoyed herself so much. And so she didn't necessarily want to take away that opportunity from one of her friends. So, or closer friends anyways. So that definitely could be a likely story. Definitely. I had to say, I love though. So they ended up all voting for Katie, giving her her wishes. None of the guys wanted to speak up and say anything about it. So they allowed Katie to do this. And then Darrel turns over to them like, I'll vote for you, Katie, as long as you don't vote me in or like ask me to play for you. I was like, Darrel, you're so funny.
I feel like Darrel is the only person that can like just get away with that, like just saying like something like straight up, and like he'll say it in his way and people are like, oh haha, but he's like, no, I'm serious. Like
then my favorite scene of the night is Fanta's bar scene. Tell me what you learned from this, and then we're gonna go talk a lot about what was the most hilarious part about it.
Oh my gosh, this was so funny because like in the deliberation you start to see that like the guys being like, oh shit, we go in, like is it gonna be me, like is it gonna be me, and these guys are such jokers. So we like get to the bar and then like right away we see like Derrick has this like fake bandage on his head with like fake blood right in the middle of it. And I was like, for one split second, I was like, oh my God, what? And then I was like, oh my God. So they're all like doing this thing, like Katie's wearing her crown and it's like, it says her name on it. And she's sitting there, Queen Cooley, and they're all taking turns like doing these little skits and scenes to like show that like Derrick is just like, oh, I'll be no good to you. And like,
he's like, I don't want to go up against the greatest of all time. And he's just like,
and then Nehemiah goes on there and then he like pretends like one eye is like is working, and he's like, yeah, I mean, give him my eye, but I can help and go down there. Like, I love that. It was so funny. They were all like such jokers and like just like really like hang it up, and that was very entertaining.
Yes, Katie was calling it the reverse bachelor. Basically, so tell me why I should not pick you.
Yeah.
Was really what I was like. I love the fact that she wasn't offended by the fact that, like, you know, they didn't want to necessarily want to go with her up against Kendall and Mark. And so, but I also, this is what I love about these people, is that they're willing to take a joke a little bit too far for the sake of the cameras and the comedy. So they're not yelling like Josh does to like inserting himself in some sort of argument. No, they're making a little skit that's hilarious that like I rewound it a few times because I was chuckling so hard. I had the Fanta cackle for that like section of the bar scene. I loved it. You too, Michelle? All smiles too?
Oh yeah. I mean, it was so jokes. Like, and Derrick is such like a little like frat boy, just like so excited to be like part of the team and part of the cool. Like, he's just like, ah, like he's just such a little like Tasmanian devil is what I associate him with, sort of. Like he's speedy, he's good, but he's like, I'm not gonna be number one, but like, he's like always like a sidekick. And yeah, I found that hilarious.
Yeah, that scene made my like the whole episode for me. I was just like, you guys are the best. Like, I love that you guys did this. It was so silly. It was so funny. It was just great. It was just all smiles. Yeah. So right after all those guys making their pitch of why she shouldn't pick them, Latterian sits in and is playing the hero now, and he's just like, you know, if you call my name, I'll go in there. I'll go to work for you. And like, it's cool. Like, I get it. I love that you want to protect her here, but like, bro, you're also trying to win the money. Like, I want you to see your skit. Like, I want to see a skit. That's really what it is.
It just, it was a nice moment. Yes. And I appreciate it. You know what I mean? Like, I like that these people are making sure, for the most part, that they're leaving, like that they're doing everything they can to like redeem themselves as people, not just as like, I need to win, you know? Like they want to have these moments of like, as a person, I'm validated because I'm doing the right thing and I'm going super hard, you know? Like Latterian's good. He's like, if I'm going to go in, it's going to be honorable and I'm going to give it 1,000%. And it's against someone who's really good and strong. So there's like that respect on it. I don't know. It's just nice. Besides obviously Arissa, but like that was also necessary for all of us as well.
Some people are like, not. Oh, thank you. Andre is here. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna always say Andrea. Andre. Okay, I'll do my best to remember that, but I just have a friend, Andrea, and I've been saying her name like that for 20 years. And so, Andre, I'll try my best.
Sorry, Andre.
I'm sorry. Which one was I gonna put up here? Did we do this one? Oh, yes, we did. Mark says Katie for her to volunteer again. That's kind of echoing what I think you were saying, Michelle. But I think also, so when Latterian was sitting down there, I do feel as though they both maybe kind of knew that they weren't going to win. And that maybe they're just like doing what was best for maybe the game or the show. They knew that they're not the big draws necessarily. Well, the Latterian anyway, it's a big draw for people to be watching. And so maybe he was like, I don't know if I want to take for the show for Mark, take away one of his big heavy hitters. So maybe he also was like doing a solid for the actual All-Stars show by making it easy for them.
Okay, so this is an interesting thing that I've been seeing a lot of people have been discussing, like the elephant in the room, which is Mark. So, yeah, like, is he gonna win? What happens? Like, I mean, I feel like you can't see him any other way than like getting to the final. Who can take him out?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that a lot too, especially since there's only like. I think the truth is that he'll be in the pre-final, whatever that situation is, and then they go from there. And if he loses along that journey, he loses along that journey. But I agree with you. As soon as he was in an elimination, I was like, fuck. Like, he has to win, and it has to be against someone that he can beat. And I don't want it to be Darrel. I don't want it to be, like all these people. And I don't want it to be Latterian because I'm loving Latterian this season.
For sure.
And he's really strong. And I agree. I think it's an interesting thing. I will say, though, after watching the elimination, I believe that like the most respectful thing you can do for Mark and for the challenge is to play the game with your all and give your all. And while I think Katie was a little bit like expecting herself not to win, I think Latterian went in with the winning attitude. Like, I really think, because Katie says to him before, like, I'll try my best. He's like, no, we're going to go for it. Like, he was giving his fucking all. And I think that that's the best thing you can do. Like, don't give Mark an easy win. Like, I think that, as I agree, it was probably on his mind of like, it's, if I lose to Mark, it's good because he gets to continue and it's his kind of baby. But I don't think that he gave him like an easy win. I think like Latterian did give his fucking all. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about, I've got some like insider, well, not insider, everyone probably knows this, but info from the actual elimination.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kendall posted.
Cool. We're almost there. Actually, really close. Just the only thing that happened before we get to the arena is we see Mark and Kendall talking, and she kind of calls him out a little bit, being like, like we're working together here. I think she's afraid that maybe he will just be willing to go home and like lose so that she can go home, because he has been kind of targeting her for most of the season. And so I didn't think that he responded very well. He was kind of like, I want to win and I want to be here. He didn't really say like, no, I don't want you to go home and I wasn't targeting you. He didn't really sell that to me, but.
No, because he's not going to lie. He's just like, I'll put it aside for the challenge. I want to win more than anything. So like, you don't have to worry about that. Like when it comes to what we have to do, we're going to do it,
Yeah.
You're going to say something, Fanta, or no?
No, I was just kind of like laughing about how Mark's like poker face.
No poker face.
Lack thereof.
So what am I writing there? Katie, Anissa, Kellyanne, and Jonna. Oh, okay. So Kellyanne, Katie, Anissa, and Jonna were all talking in the room beforehand. And I also I don't know what it is about this season. Maybe it's more well lit. Maybe sometimes they're more outside. Maybe there's more daylight. It's not the bunker of total madness. Like, I'm just liking visually seeing all these people and how they're setting up these shots. And so that's another thing that I've been noticing. I'm like, oh, I like watching these conversations because it's like well lit. Like, cool. I like that. And so they are talking about, going in and what's going to happen and who she's going to maybe call out and pick. And we get a confessional from Anissa being like, oh, I hope she doesn't pick Latterian because I want him to come back home. Yeah. Get it, girl.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I was like, me too, girl. We want to see you get some. Has Anissa Anissa has like the number one amount of like makeouts and hookups. I feel like she has.
Maybe. I
She
mean,
made out with like everybody.
well,
Yeah.
because she likes both sexes, I think that also ups the possibility when you're a little bit tipsy to who's gonna want a little bit of a makeout. But we haven't seen her make out with a guy, I don't think, since Corey, right?
Yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, might have been a minute.
Which is fun. It's just fun. I want to see.
I
Yeah,
wanted
I'd
to see
this.
her and Latterian like make out. I was
Yeah.
very-
I have like hesitant points. Like, is it like 5 points for this? Like, they kind of were canoodling. They may have kissed, and we just didn't know.
I mean, she does. Well, like she was rubbing his leg a little bit, but at the same time, it's not because we didn't see them kiss. Hey, I know. They didn't actually kiss that I saw. I think they would have shown it.
Yeah.
Unless they
Yeah,
didn't
point.
show up because of the mom.
What
What if they didn't show up because of the mom?
You think Latterian's mom called MTV and was like, "You better
Not
not."
shown.
Or no, maybe he said like, "Well, please don't show that. My mom's gonna get mad at me."
They would have especially done that.
Are you kidding?
Jorge says, I love how we had more juicy hookups and cuddles here than Double Agent. I know, because I don't know what they're doing on Double Agents. Like, there's something off. I haven't like fully put my finger on what is so wrong. Like, is it different casting people? Like, what is it? Actually, I'm gonna look next time and see.
They're
Bro,
just-
they did kiss when they said goodbye.
Is that a hookup?
No.
No, it wasn't a makeout. I love how Chantele just tried. She was like,
I don't think I have either of them, so it doesn't even matter. I'm doing this for Michelle and for you. So, I'm just trying to be fair to my peoples here.
"Michelle and
Fair.
me."
I have
yeah,
Latterian.
I have Anissa.
Exactly. Several pecks.
I lost another one. Ugh.
You love what?
I lost another player.
Oh, I know.
Two.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I did.
So at the arena, so we know that Mark and Kendall are obviously going to be going in, and Katie is down there. And who did you think Katie was going to pick? Did you think it was going to be Latterian? I know, and yes was the other person that she was. Yeah, me too.
There's no way. I was like, even like, I'm just like so kind of, I've got a question mark over yes. I'm like, you said you were good at math. You said you like puzzles, and I have seen neither of those things. Why did I pick you?
Because
Because
he might get to the
first
end,
math
though.
challenge, the very first one.
She wants to give him back. She wants to say no.
Saying no to yes.
Okay, so at the arena, though, we see two long ropes, like kind of coiled in the middle, two ends and two posts. And so you know that it's going to be some sort of tug of war. We've seen this before. We've seen Josh and Jordan do something similar. It's a pretty standard competition that we have on the challenge. So we know that anybody of any size or any strength ability is capable of winning because you can outsmart your opponent. So I was like, oh, hey, is Katie and Latterian going to win this? Because I was having my money more so on Mark and Kendall if it was most things. But this one, I was like, they have a shot here. Just a little wiggle, a little, psych them out. So how are you guys
And
feeling?
then the
about
first
this?
round happens, and I'm like, that's when my heart started going.
I was
I
out
was
of.
like,
I was just pacing in my like living room. I was
like,
oh my God, I don't know who's gonna win.
I was like, wait, there's no way. And like, you could see how tired the guys, especially, like they were already getting. Like, it must be so heavy, that rope. And like, you see Kendall, like her whole body is like, ugh, you know what I mean? And like, Katie was struggling too, but like, oh my God, when Mark dropped it, I was like, fuck. Like, I was like, he's going to lose and go home right now. Like, I was like, well, at least he made it halfway. Like, I had convinced myself. Like, I was like, you can't come back from that. Like,
but then I was thinking, I was like, but we know that Latterian gasses out because he's all like, he just really exerts a lot of energy, and then he's not able to maintain that pace. And so I was worried that they wouldn't be able to sustain it doing another full round. And so go ahead.
This elimination was actually an hour and a half.
True. I did hear that.
An hour and a half?
Yes. And
6 rounds.
there was multiple times where somebody won and the other person lost. And so it was like a stalemate. And so they only showed those like 3 rounds, but there were more rounds that went down, and they actually were really exhausted. And Katie on the after show shows bruises on her thighs, like she was like really manhandled by, or sorry, not manhandled, it's like really got beaten up in a way from these ropes on her thighs. It was really, looked really bad. So
wow,
yeah, an hour and a half.
Okay, I did not know that at all. And like that even more proves what I was saying before of like, they gave their all. They did not, like Kay and Latterian, I think they 100% once they were doing it, were like, you're in the challenge, you're in the elimination, you play to win. It doesn't matter. Like you play to fucking win. And either team could have won, I suppose. Like in the end, I agree with you though. I did have hope in Mark's like sustainability over Latterian, but I don't think Mark could have the longest either because he's also very buff. Like if he was against even an Alton or something, Alton might kind of like Jordan have a little more swiftness, may be able to like balance a little bit more, that sort of thing. I was scared that Mark was going to fall off. It was so stressful.
Yeah, it was really stressful. But I loved when, what was she saying? Kendall was like, you pulled that rope, pull it. Like, and she was like, I loved her. She like really pull it, keep going, pull that. I was like, yes. Like, I do love seeing partner support and like motivation. I just watched, what was it? The final, the last arena in Battle of the Exes? I don't know. Battle of the Exes. And you just see Camilla going around, it's like yelling at John, like, you could do it, you could do it. Like, and it just feels good when I hear the partners really giving that amped up energy to help motivate their partners. So I thought that was a good showing on Kendall, that she wanted to be there. Like she did her part, she won her leg. And so getting Mark to do it as well, like I like that, seeing that from her. Did you?
Definitely.
That was cool. I like how she's like coming alive and trying to find her own something in this season.
So speaking of truth stats, I can see Mark making the final, but he acknowledged that he's terrible at puzzles, and that's just likely to be his downfall. I mean, it probably will be his downfall. I don't really see it going any other way. I don't see him winning. I don't see Mark winning this. I don't know if I have a winner pick yet, but I don't see Mark winning it. I don't think he's well-rounded enough to win this particular one. You want to get to the draft?
I don't see him winning.
You want to refer back to this?
Go ahead. Okay, come on. Give me your notes. Tell me your stats, your Fanta.
I just like having any excuse to bring out my construction paper.
I mean, it is a fan favorite. Absolutely. It's the 4th member of the podcast. I think
one person has been like, yeah, sis, get that construction paper. Okay. Are we done talking about the elimination?
I mean, we pretty much are. I don't think there's anything that we haven't said, but like, take the rest of the rope. That's your rope. I love that. And so just lastly is that Katie, she ends it with being like, I usually leave these things flipping people off, but this time around I was hugging everybody. And that just kind of echoes what I was saying, where it's like she didn't have the same type of fight because it wasn't the same type of game that she's used to playing. And so that's why I'm saying maybe she would come back being like, oh, I enjoyed myself. Maybe this time if I came back, I'll have the intention of trying to win instead of what I'm used to is like trying to like go into elimination to prove myself and come back. And so I'm just thinking that she may have a growth experience and maybe want to try and actually win, because she's never really played this game to win. She was always playing for self-preservation and to give them all the big F you. So,
well, she won one game.
Oh, true.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I think I even saw in the comments somebody saying, as a response to me saying, like, I don't think Katie's going to come back, or Teck. And I guess apparently Mark said that everybody would want to come back, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if I really agree that that'll happen, but it would be interesting seeing how people come back a second time. Because it's going to be very different. Like, people are like, oh no, like, I'm actually here to win this money. Like, first time was like summer camp, like, I'm actually here to win this money now.
That's the thing. Like, even Syrus, he's like, yeah, I got to come back still and prove myself. I'm like, dude, you are so old. Like, I'm worried about you, worried about your body.
Like, he's literally had that speech every time he's lost. And he's just like, next time, like, he's just so shocked that it's happened.
But it's like, you chose to go against Alton.
Yeah.
Like, I can't get over that. Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, he's not meant to win, but I want him to win just so that he'll feel okay. And he can just like I'm just like, Syrus, like, this is killing you. Like, anyways.
Oh, Chris here. Hi, Chris. Is agreeing with me about like the scenery that they have for this season. So the Argentina mountains and river are breathtaking in their backyard when they do the yoga. Yes, I love that. And pardon me?
That's where they are. I had no idea.
Do you know what? You're right. I didn't have any idea either. Thank you, Chris. And thanks for the props. No, I don't think I knew that. I should be a TV host. I'd love to be a TV host.
You would be a perfect TV host.
Thanks.
Perfect
guys.
anything host. Let's be real.
I mean, I would love to be like a TV host for Entertainment Tonight. That would be like on the list of like dream gigs for sure. I would love it. I mean, maybe I'll host the after shows for the main season of the challenge eventually or something. Wouldn't that be? Oh my God, that would be a dream.
Be a dream.
A dream.
It'd be my dream. One of my dreams is for you to do that, because then I would just like have firsthand knowledge of so many things.
It'd be so good. Okay, so somebody in the comments was saying that they had some tea. Did you have tea as well, Fanta, that you wanted to bring out?
No, I didn't have any tea. It was just that thing about the elimination, and Kendall had posted her diary of like, the elimination, and it was like about like all 6 of the rounds. And like some people were like ripping on her, and they were like, oh my God, like what? And then somebody else was like, well, it makes sense. Like, they have to do confessionals. So if you like take notes and stuff, like that's helpful.
Oh, and she wrote about like all like
every single round.
So did you remember anything that she said about these rounds?
I mean, it was just like logistical stuff, like just like, okay, like I dropped the rope on this one. Katie dropped the rope on this one. Like,
so that makes sense. So that's like to keep track of the confessionals, especially because they don't do it right when it happens. Like you have to do it a day later, even potentially. So that makes sense to keep a little bit of a notebook as to what you'd want to talk about for sure. So Jorge, do you have any tea that you want to share? What I learned about the after show. We learned that Mark has done most of his challenges with Ruthie and Anissa, so he's really good friends with Ruthie as well. Mark said that he really did want to go in to the arena so it wouldn't look as though he just coasted to the end. So he wanted to have an opportunity to at least say, like, I deserve to be here. And I didn't just like bring everybody together. Like, I actually went down and came back. And so that was one of the reasons why he was happy that he went in. But he also was like, I don't know why I chose to team captain because I'm bad at puzzles.
Yeah.
Let's get to the end here. Horsey said they also took a break, and Mark and Latterian took a break because they were exhausted. They just stood there on the bunk. Yeah, we did see at one point, Latterian drops it, and instead of Katie and Kendall continuing to go on, they're like, well, we might as well just lose the point here instead of making it a stalemate and exhausting ourselves. So it's the right move, but also like I really wanted Katie and Latterian to pull through, but I didn't want Kendall and Mark to go.
No, me neither. I was like, Mark needs to still be there. And like, it was just such a show of force. Like these two men just like going at it. They both looked like so exhausted. And like that rush, I mean, I don't exude like any like physical like movement anymore, but I can only imagine that amount of like strength and like pushing yourself beyond must feel so satisfying, you know?
Well, it does. That's why people
exhilarating in a way.
They do marathons is because they're like they just want to use their body to the ultimate, to the maximum, and they just feel so alive with the amount that they put their body through, like push the limits too. So it probably is very similar with these challenges, is that you're doing things, you're pushing your body to the limits, and it's pretty satisfying after to know what you're capable of. So yeah, I agree. Ooh, Chris is crying. I cried at the end of this. I grew up with Katie, and I was so moved to see women, the woman that she is now. And Latterian is the man. When I'm so used to boys on these things, I was sad. Do you know what? That's true, though. I do appreciate the level of maturity, especially from the men on these shows, on this show, on the OG season. So, do you guys agree with that too?
Yeah, I definitely agree. They're real and just, you know, like real men and gentlemanly and like, but also funny. I don't know. Yeah, it was great. And I'm sad to see Latterian go. I really didn't think I was going to like him this season. And I really, really liked him this whole season. And I'm glad, even though he lost, he did get an elimination win earlier. So he did prove himself in that way. And he can leave being proud in that, you know?
Oh, Jorge. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so one of the tea that was mentioned was confirmation that from Mark that he threw that elimination against Bananas. We all theorized that he did, but now we have it confirmation. So that was at the end of Battle of the Exes, the only elimination that Mark has been in, right before the final when he was with Robin.
Wait, he had never been in an elimination before?
No, up until that point, and he hasn't since.
In that season, you mean?
He retired after that.
Sorry, you mean in that season? That was the only elimination he went into?
No, he's never been into an arena, gauntlet, or anything like that. He always evaded it. This is his second time down in the arena.
Sorry. What? I'm very confused. Out of all the seasons he's done, he never had to go into elimination?
That was always his game, was never go into elimination. And so he went in that one with Bananas and Camilla with Robin, and it was speculated that he let Bananas win that one.
Why?
I don't know what the why was. Do you know what the why was, Jorge?
Like, why would he throw the only elimination he's ever been in?
Like, he did have a friendship with Bananas. Remember back in the day, people would sort of split winnings. So maybe there was some sort of agreement there.
I
did hear about that. People used to split winnings. Okay, that makes sense. So this is literally the second time he's ever been, his first elimination win ever.
Yeah.
Like he's 1-1.
Correct.
How the fuck?
Yeah.
How do you avoid elimination even if your game is to avoid it? Like, that's crazy.
People just let him get to the end. Like, he's just always been that guy that he's good enough to not be last, right? He's never been last. He was only, I guess, last that one time when they had to do, I think it was against the airways, whatever. And they were had to move all the furniture. I think that's what they got last in, but everything else, he's always at least decent.
Wow. And how many challenges has he won? Just one?
That I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
Wow.
Oh, and the other one was how long the elimination was in the rounds. Yes. Okay. So we did get to tea because I was like, I don't remember, but we did know. So Natalie, hi Natalie. What was the best elimination ever? What do we like? I can't even think of them all right now.
It's hard to think of.
I actually really like the one. It's recency bias, but where they had to either like they had the two spinning, like we'll say logs, and so they had to duck under it or then jump over the other one, and they're kind of standing on little platforms, and you're with your partner, and so it's like you got to duck, and then you have to jump over, and then you duck and you jump over, and they're kind of spinning. Do you know what I'm talking about, Fanta?
Yeah, I do.
I like that one for its endurance, and anybody can win it, and it just like, are you capable of outlasting? So I do like that one.
Yeah, I like the one. There's two that I like. I really love the one that they did tonight. I loved when Jordan did that with Josh. I also really love that the hammer one that Jordan did against Zach.
Yeah.
Speaking of the hammer ones, I love the one that Jenna did against Tori, where they had to take those breakaway bricks and stuff it through the grape and then bring the wheelbarrow back and fill up the container. I like that it had multi stages within it, and it was definitely a nail biting elimination round. So I like that one too.
Yeah, there was also, I was just rewatching the Ruins this week, and there was one with it's just like a tug of war. So it's basically like pole wrestle, but with a rope. And it was just like pissing rain. And it was Susie versus Kimberly, and then Johnny Bananas versus Dunbar. And they were just like holding on to like that. That's all. Like I love like really simple ones.
Where you just see heart.
Like where you just see heart, and it just like, it requires like a lot of endurance.
Same.
Samesies. To me, it was Derrick versus Josh. I mean, when he was the mercenary, yeah, that was a good one too. I don't care that much about pole wrestling and cross pole wrestling and even hall brawls. Really, like I did used to enjoy, like you said, that it was a treat before. Like when the hall brawl came, it's always like an epic moment with two people that are like, oh my god, I can't believe it's a hall brawl for this matchup. Now it's overplayed for me, so
it's definitely overplayed.
They need to retire Hall Brawl for
Hall Brawl needs to be done for the entirety of next season.
Unless they do it like literally once.
And they usually do it once though, and it's usually right before the final.
No, but there have been many seasons where they haven't done it. Like recently. So it's like you don't need to do it. Stop doing it.
It's like they just want to give something for Fessy to be able to win at. Because he's been lucky enough to get, well, obviously he threw his friend under the bus and beat up Nelson to be able to go do the hall brawl the first time in Double Agents. But like, we don't need to see him do hall brawl. I don't need to see people's fingers getting broken. So I can do without any of these ones where these men or players that think that because they have a weight and height advantage over some of the smaller people that they can go and get their gold skull or whatever it is. Let's take those out of the equation. I want more variety, please. Yeah, so they were in an alliance, and so I'm really thinking, Chris, that there must have been some agreement of like, let me win this. Camilla and I can win this final in the end, and like I'll give you $20,000 or whatever from the 75 that they're winning or whatever it is.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Too much.
Not too much. He said that he had an alliance with him, so that more likely Bananas gave him some money, like Bananas did with Zach. And also, who was the other one, Michelle, what we were talking about with the Ruins, or with the duel that gave money? Was it Wes gave money to?
It could have been Wes. Wes has talked about that, I think, at some point. And I looked it up. He has won two. He won the first one he was ever on, Real World versus Road Rules, and then he won Battle of the Sexes 2, and he was in the finals for 2 seasons as well, Duel 2 and Gauntlet 2, 1 or 2. And then, didn't make the final on X's. But
pole wrestling is the best. It's okay. I just watched a whole season of like a lot of pole wrestling, and I'm like, like I was getting into it, but because people were more evenly matched, it seems in the newer seasons that the matchup is painful to watch because I'm worried that someone's going to get hurt, and it takes away the enjoyment from me when it's too unbalanced. So
like Fessy versus Jordan with one hand in a pole wrestle, like so stupid, so stupid. Like I get it that like Jordan has to play like everyone else, and he's proven it time and time again with the rope, with the nails, with everything. But like doing that was just so cruel. Are you kidding? Anyways.
Best
It
hot ball
was
was Zach versus
cool.
CJ. I don't remember.
I don't remember that either. No spoilers, please.
CJ. Come on, it's like 10 years ago.
I still like when I rewatch the challenge, I'm still like, oh my God.
I know. I'm like, I remember everything, but I don't remember it right before it happens. I'm like,
I mean,
what
I
happened here?
I
And then I'm
can
like,
guess who would win a hall brawl between them, and I remember them doing it, but I don't remember the outcome. But I can guess what the outcome would be, obviously.
Yeah.
it must have been Zach winning.
Balls back.
Best part of All Stars. I haven't heard the word Cold Skull. Oh my God. Yes. I mean, I hope that they really learned a lot from this OG season to know that what works, the team that sucks the most goes in directly. That works. It works really well. And then if you want to play around with the format of other stuff, I don't care. It's fine. But as long as if you suck, you're going in, that just lifts up like the urgency for everyone. And it will allow people like Fessy to not be like, I'm the best because I pick and choose when I go in to go and perform because I come here to compete in things that I'm good at.
Yeah, they need to absolutely bring that format back to main challenge.
Why is it not there? Like, just make them go in because you suck and have TJ be like, oh, like, you're here again? Like, pick it up, guys. Like, do better. Like, I like that.
I think the thing with the main challenge is that, I mean, and we've talked about this, like our tinfoil hat thing, but I think that they just, like, production wants to manage risks, right? And they don't want under any circumstances, like, whatever, like if one of our favorites like accidentally DQs and then they automatically go into the, like, they don't want that. So they're just constantly managing these risks, right? And even like this season, for example, or the past couple of seasons where they're like, okay, skulls, still to this point, we have not had an instance where somebody just hasn't gotten their skull and TJ has been like, oh, you don't have your skull, you can't run the final. Like everybody is always given a chance to get skulls. So that kind of
ruins the element of the skulls.
The purpose of skulls.
It's basically to go into an elimination at one point. That's basically it.
And that, again, it is the function of now, like when you think about American TV, like this past season of the challenge, oh my God, 22 fucking episodes? Why? It used to be like 10 to 12 episodes and it's like you
20
get
minutes.
Yeah, and but even like I think like it was like 10 to 12, but like they elongated them, but they just, obviously it's because it's like MTV's, like, it's like the challenge is one of the top reality shows in the world. And it's like one of MTV's top shows. So they're like, okay, like let's maximize this. Like let's really
is this like what they're doing to ridiculousness? Is that like they're like just stretching it out, elongating it to like, so like just shoving it down our throats? Like, you're gonna watch this all day, all night.
Basically all of MTV's budget is going to the challenge, right?
That's true. And the explosions that they don't need. They don't need these explosions.
The explosions that are like so far away from the actual thing.
Oh.
I won. Got it. Ding.
So, okay, Tony and Bananas versus Polly and Natalie was a very good elimination too. They had to eat, I believe, expired milk or fermented milk and bananas, and Natalie had to be standing with buckets over them. Oh, I kind of remember that. I kind of remember it.
That's when Natalie beat Bananas.
Yeah, because he was like holding, like I remember Bananas like holding on to the bucket and he just like couldn't anymore.
I do remember that. Is that the same one or is it a different one when she was in like that spinning thing? And
that was another one.
Another one? Okay. Well, Derrick versus Joss was very unbalanced, and yet Derrick won. Yes.
He's not, he's the exception to the rule.
Definitely not. It's not like Jay. You know, it's not like someone that's quite small that's not well versed in the challenge. That
like Derrick beat Syrus at a pole wrestle.
Yes.
Okay, they also could do what they did with Dirty 30, which is flipping the tablet, meaning it is up to them to get a chance who goes into the elimination. That's true too. No, but then
That
you'd
was
see
always very
fucking
exciting.
Fessy, like, just being like, oh, bro, you know this is my man. Like,
I would at this point. I'm like, there's not really much that we can do in regards to Fessy's attitude, but I do definitely think like they need to bring back those kinds of elements. Like the skull thing is dumb. Most people don't like that. It's just not working. There just needs to be more stakes so that people like Casey and Josh aren't just on the show forever.
yes, because they have the numbers, so they don't have to go in until they want to.
It's really lame to like, I really just don't like the idea of like players like constantly like working together in that way to get one person's perfect storm to go into elimination. Like, I just love the idea of like, just go in, because that's where like drama gets created. Like, it's just more exciting. Everything is just like, there's more anticipation. If it's just this thing where it's like, okay, like we got to protect this person for 6 eliminations. And then, okay, how does this look? Okay, that looks good. Okay, now we just get that person to vote for you. Like,
is that dynamic television? No.
That's the thing, it's not dynamic. It's like, it ensures your safety as a player, but it's not interesting for us to watch.
Yeah, I don't care.
Oh.
What were we going to say, Michelle?
I forget.
Okay, so Andre says next week is the last elimination. Has to be Nehemiah, Big Easy, Jisela, and Kendall because they are in the mid-season trailer. So it's a men's elimination. So what do you think has happened here? Can we tell?
What it'll be, my guess is that Big Easy maybe gets voted in, or maybe Big Easy loses. Maybe he's because he just was a captain. So I would guess that Nehemiah maybe is the captain that loses. And maybe he was partnered with Jisela, and then maybe
Big Easy
voted Big
Kendall
Easy because they're like, okay, well,
and he'll take Kendall because they don't like her that much, anyways.
And they don't care to lose her, but also
Jisela.
It's also a really big win for Easy because he knows that Kendall's really good at eliminations, and then there's the drama between Jisela and Kendall. Oh, that's going to be big drama! Can't wait.
So much drama. It might not be Kendall. They showed Kendall for this elimination that we just saw.
Ooh, maybe it'll be someone else.
I have to look
I saw
again.
Jemmye in an elimination thing. Anyways, I could be wrong.
Look
Because
at
there
it
also
again.
could be other things where they're in a similar situation.
Another wants to know how you feel about the Big Butter Canada winner.
Yeah, I haven't. Okay, to be honest, I didn't like watch, but I read everything, and I obviously I've been in the know this whole time. But I don't know. I kind of got a little bit bored with this season, to be honest with you. But I'm really happy, so fucking happy for Ty. I think that he's a great winner. I personally also really liked Brayden, but I think that Ty was the right choice under the circumstance. And yeah, I think that as a whole, it was a pretty good season. Yeah, I thought it was great. But
definitely the best season in the last few years from both Canada and US.
Yeah, definitely. I just find sometimes it's hard to watch just the long recaps when I've already seen them. But anyway.
True. Derrick is annoying court Hester. Really? Jester. I
see what you mean. He can be kind of annoying. I feel like living with him might get kind of annoying.
Okay, maybe.
But I'll always have a soft spot for him.
I mean, some of these players can't really do any wrong. They've gone to the threshold. I've already been through such a journey with them that I'm on the other side. Now they're people to me. It's there's some people in your life that you're I can't stand you. And then 10 years later, you guys are best of friends. And so this is how I feel about a lot of these people on the OG season is at one point, maybe I found you annoying, but now I'm used to you. That's who you are. And I just allow you just to be who you are. And I'm okay with it. So that's what I feel about with Derrick, is that he just can just be who he is. I'm okay with it. Hi, Norma. I love Big Brother players on Big Brother, but I can't stand them on the challenge. You're preaching to the choir here, girl. Because, yeah, I'm pretty much done with them using Big Brother as a way to source new challengers.
Any other show.
Right? Any other show. Or pick better Big Brother players. It's also that truck mission hopping onto beams won't favor Big Easy or Jisela. That's true. So maybe they were both together. And Jisela chooses Nehemiah, maybe. How would that work?
No,
It's
the guy choosing.
Right.
The
Oh,
girl.
yeah. Sorry. That's right. Sorry. Yeah.
It could, as someone's saying, it could be that Nehemiah picks Kendall. I could also see something like that happening. I don't think Jisela gets picked. I think it's clear that Jisela loses the daily.
If it's Big Easy and Jisela in a hall brawl, it's game over. It's true.
True.
I would be scared for Nehemiah and Kendall.
If has a puzzle, Big Easy has it in the bag against any guy.
Ooh, I'm excited. Will CT and Fessy work together next because they're the biggest vets there? No, Fessy's too jealous. Will it be hard to get the other one out? Fessy's just too jealous. He can't see how to use CT as a way to better himself in the game. He wants to take him out so he could be the top dog, but that's just not how it really works. Like, CT has a legacy behind him.
Yeah, also Fessy will never work with anybody except for
himself.
Fessy, and Fessy.
Yes. Okay, last couple of little comments here. So I see more Big Easy and Jisela losing and being in the same team. I don't see Nehemiah choosing Jisela unless it's a puzzle elimination. So, yeah.
But
so Jisela probably picking Nehemiah. Is that right? I forgot how it works. I keep on...
No. So what's going to happen is Jisela loses the daily either with Big Easy or with Nehemiah. I think it's going to be with Nehemiah, but it could, because that'll be not by choice. It'll be random, and then they'll volunteer to be captains. And I can see Big Easy getting the votes against Nehemiah because Jemmye will try to swing all those votes because she likes Nehemiah, wants him to stay, and she wants Big Easy out.
Oh, right.
Nehemiah will beat Big Easy. Okay, let's fucking throw Big Easy in, but not understanding the fact that Big Easy will pick Kendall because that's really at this point a smart move, or even like a Kellyanne or something, or even Anissa. Like she's obviously also proven herself as like a good partner to have.
I don't think he's going to pick anybody that he's kind of friends with, though. Isn't he?
Agreed.
I might be kind of friends with Anissa. I'm not sure, actually. Kendall has been in 2 eliminations in 1. I can see Nehemiah choosing Kendall because of that.
Fair. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, if it happens the other way around and Jisela for some reason is captain with Big Easy and they lose, definitely I can see Nehemiah picking Kendall because he wants to win. Like he plays to win.
Yeah.
So the last thing to speculate about. So Andre says, how do you think a 2-episode final will go? 6 pairs of 2, starting as a team, breaking off into pairs. I definitely feel, because TJ did say this is like a mini final, and that's basically what they did. They started off as a big group, and then they had, another opportunity to work with somebody, and then they were working by themselves, and then they were carrying these other pieces of the wooden log and stuff like that all the way through. So if that is kind of telegraphing what's going to be happening, I would say it's going to be pretty similar to that, but a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's my guess. Or people won't make it to certain, like once they break off to say into pairs, like the last 2 pairs won't make it out of the next checkpoint or something like that. I think that they will also do a bit of a purge and get rid of some people in the first day.
Totally. I
think that. And Norma says, I wonder if they'll make Jemmye be a team captain next week. I think Jemmye, they can't make Jemmye do anything that she doesn't want to do. So she would only choose to be a team captain if she was sure that she was going to win or do well. So I don't know, jumping on things on a truck, moving truck. I don't know if that's a Jemmye thing.
I don't think she'll do well with that. Also, question, where are we at with points? Can someone...
Well,
I know I lost two of my favorite players on my team, so I'm not doing that well, but I don't have it written down, so you guys let me know what the
okay,
points are.
so you can double check with this with me, Fanta. So 5, 10, 20, 25.
Because we give 5 points to Big
35.
Easy and
Yes,
5 points to
Ruthie.
Right?
Correct. You got those. And then I gave you 10 for not you. Who just won this? Kendall. So I got 10 for Kendall. And where's Mark? And you got 10 for Mark.
I got 10 for Mark.
So I got nothing.
So what are our totals at right now?
Okay, so Michelle, you're at, that's 0, so 5, 10, 20, 30, 35, 45, 55, 60. You're at 60 points, Michelle. You got 15 points this episode. Fanta, you are still at 35. I don't think you got anything this episode.
No, I didn't.
And I got 10 points this episode, so I guess I'm at 60. Are you beating me now, Michelle? No, we're both at 60.
We're at 60.
5, 10,
The thing
15,
is, though, at this point, like
20,
I don't have
30,
I don't even know who's left on my team
40,
besides Mark.
45. I'm either at 55 or 60 or 65, but I'll double check after. So left on your team is Michelle. You have Mark, Ruthie, Alton, and Beth.
I don't have Beth anymore.
Oh, sorry, Alton. Yeah, Mark, Ruthie, and Alton.
Mark, Ruthie, and Alton. I mean, those are decent top 3, but
Alton and Mark are definitely. Well, I think they're all actually in contention here.
So Fanta, who do you still have left?
Forgot to cross out Beth. I have Derrick, Yes, Jonna, Anissa, and Jisela.
Wow.
And I still have a lot of people too. I have Kelly, Darrel, Jemmye, Nehemiah, Big Easy, and Kendall.
Jesus.
I would
All
have
right.
lost
Michelle.
Well, I've got points for now.
Michelle, you shouldn't have done so well because we're coming for you. We're coming for your title. Speaking of the tunes, would you like to see the next All-Star Champs vs. Challenger theme and All-Star X's and All-Star Rivals? I'm digging All-Star X's. I want them to convince Devin to come on with. You don't want to see X's?
No, I don't like watching X's because it's not real. Like they're not. I think it was good at the time that it was, but I don't want to see these stupid teams made up of someone that like
they hooked up with.
You hooked up with when everyone hooks up with each other. It's not a real X. And like I don't know. I would prefer the Champs versus Challengers theme. I always like that theme, but the problem is the champs always win. So I'd want like a wrench in there somehow.
So who are what is Champs versus Challengers? What does that mean?
Like the Ruins was a champs. Like if you've won a season, you're a champ.
Oh yeah, no, I love that. Give me that for sure.
Yeah, I would love that.
Even give me that on the main season. Fuck off, Fessy. Like you can be a challenger still, and I'll be a champion.
But at the same time, there are some really good people who haven't won, but you can't beat the people who've won. Like they won.
Yeah.
Well, you can
one-on-one,
but like as a team, like, well, it would depend on what it was. Anyways, I don't know.
All-Stars Rivals could be pretty juicy as well.
That could be
there's
juicy
a lot
too.
of people that hate each other, so that could be quite delicious. I hope that they do a good theme for both next seasons. Like I want to see a nice theme. Double Agents, it was interesting enough, but like I want something a little bit more compelling and about the relationships of the partners. You know, I want something more there. So is it possible we won't see Fessy versus CT Elimination? I could see the other one getting to a final and looking at the cast. I don't.
It could be that if there's enough like other people to like band together and get the two of them in an elimination together, because then you automatically get rid of one of them. That's kind of a benefit for any other guy that's on the show. Like all the new guys, why not? Like, you know from watching last season that you can't actually trust Fessy because even if you're in an alliance with him, he'll still put his own self first every time and like fake apologize for it months and months later. You know what I mean? When he gets called out. So I think that like hopefully a lot of these new people will be like, no, why would we put this other person and this person who's won 3 times now, right? 3 or 4 times. I guess four times? Four
So
times.
3 times and 1 champs versus pros or something.
That counts.
So 4, I think.
Put them against each other. Try to get one of them out. Hopefully Fessy.
I mean, I think it would be fun too, but I do see Michelle's point with it not being real exes. Like, I'm just watching obviously right now with a DM and CT, and that's like real exes, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And even with Emily and Ty, they're real exes, I would say. And Johnny, I know that Johnny kind of dates everybody, but I think him and Camilla had an explosive whatever shipmanship that they had.
They didn't even show them ever hooking up. Like, they were hooking up and we knew, but Johnny never got on camera doing his hookups. Like, you never saw it.
Because he was always in a relationship, no?
No, because he was always friends with the producers.
That's true,
and they just never showed his bad shit. Like, when have you ever seen him under the covers fucking someone? And you know how many times he did? Every season.
It's true. Okay, so Ruthie apparently hit Nehemiah the night before Syrus and Beth went home. It's the fight that was in the trailer they didn't show. Jemmye said so on her Patreon. Oh, I want to see that. Like a real hit? Why didn't she go home? Curious. And the rivals exes pairs are so unfair. I mean, CT and Wes, that's true. Emily and Paula, Evelyn and Paula, absurdly strong and unfair. I mean, that's, I think, one thing that Josh was hoping to do, to like maybe get rivals with Wes. And I'm sure that like Fessy is just like dying. He's salivating over the fact that maybe he could be a rival with CT, but CT is just so unbothered that like, like I don't think that would really happen.
He has so many other deeper rivals than him. Like, he's not really a rival.
Yeah, it's like you're just like an annoying person.
And I will say, like, Emily, Evelyn Paula and Emily Paula, both number ones, both seasons they won. But like, Paula was never strong. She never won until those seasons. She was always super weak and always really bad. And she did get better. Yeah, and more in shape. And she was lucky both times to have amazing partners. But she did not have an easy road to get those wins. She got lucky with those seasons, but she got screwed so many times. Cough, cough, the island. Like, she got screwed so hard so many times.
The island? Like, I don't know if I would ever be able to.
She's crying in the treasure chest at the end. She's like, no.
It's so brutal. Exes would be more balanced than rivals, potentially. If you could count challenge versus all-star or versus stars, etc. CT has won 6 times. Okay, excuse me. Okay, that's pretty good. So 4 in the real season and 2 in the, addendum. CT's a beast, and he would have won a lot more too, like if he didn't punch people and like get kicked off shows. So he definitely he's a top dog. I love CT. I'll always pick him high. So do we have anything else to say, guys? Who's our celebrity crush? Can you guess who mine is? Is yours CT, Natalie? Who's yours, Fanta? Who's your challenge crush? Just Kellyanne? Who else do you like?
Yeah, it's pretty much just Kellyanne.
And
if I have to choose like main season, like no, it's Kellyanne. It's
main season, yeah. Who's your crush on the main season?
I mean, I think Amber is really nice to look at.
Nani, though.
Yeah, I've always kind of had a crush on Nani, but not like for real. Like with Kellyanne, my mind goes wild.
Because she's wild. Like, she's wild.
Her in that Under Armour, like, blue dress in Deliberation. I wasn't even, like, listening. I was just like, oh.
I don't even remember what she was wearing, but anyway.
Who are your crushes, Michelle? We know Nam.
Wes has always been, like, my biggest crush in the day. I can't say the same for now, but, like, he's always been, like, my crush. I always had a crush on Landon back in the day.
He's a cutie.
And I had a brief moment with Evan.
Yeah, Evan too.
But I would say like Wes, because I always hate that little, like I always loved the like underdog, but also kind of like asshole character. So I always liked him. And then obviously CT, but like that was kind of more like in awe.
Yeah, he's just so like he's the type of person that you just like if he looks at you and he likes you and he's proud of you, like you just want him to give you attention. CT. So Speaking the Truth says Corey, Nelson, Cam, Nani, Cara are my challenge crushes. Nani out of that group. Cara. I really liked Cara and Abram together when they were good. I'm not a fan of Cara though. She's just a little bit too whiny for me, but I think she's beautiful.
Don't
I think
yuck
all these.
yum.
Pardon?
Don't yuck their yum.
Well, I'm just giving my opinion of these people as to who I would like potentially because they're asking me that question. I think Anissa is very attractive. I like her confidence. Yeah, she's somebody that I'd probably like make out with if I was on like a challenge and I was drunk. You know what I mean? Like she's kind of chill. She's cool. Same with Nani.
Yeah. Oh, you know who was so cute? Remember, what was it? Was it? I forget what season it was, but Jen was partnered with that cute guy, Pete.
Yes. Pete.
Or no, she was partnered with Noor, but she had a showmance with Pete.
Fresh meat too.
Correct.
Fresh meat too. And Pete was in the final with.
It's so good.
Yeah, I just
Pete
started.
Is so cute.
But I saw, okay, his profile is private now. I went to look him up. I'm like, what's Pete doing nowadays? Like, he's going to be like all manly. And it looks like he might be a bit of a meathead now and kind of like all like roided up, you know, like super big muscles and like tribal tattoos. So that's, but I could only see like that little tiny picture. So that's what it seemed like. And his account was private. I didn't know if I wanted to like request to be a follower. But yes. What?
Shoot your shot. Because if you don't like what you see, you can always unfollow.
True. And you know what? I also am going to add to my list of crushes Jay.
Oh, you love Jay.
And Alton.
Oh,
I love Alton. Yeah, Alton's very.
I like Alton is like a perfect specimen.
Smile.
Oh, just melts your heart.
He's very handsome. Okay, so Natalie's are Joss. Joss is very handsome. For me though, his vibe though is he's best friends with Rogan. I'm just like,
more.
Fair. And he has a nice accent. He has a nice body, but he's a very aesthetically very good looking man. Corey Nom is now my crush. Okay, Natalie. JP. Who's JP? Who's JP?
I don't remember.
I mean, I'm just thinking JP from Survivor, but I'm sure there was probably another JP. I just can't think of it right now.
Alton's definitely a very handsome man. Who's JP? Oh, hi, Caitlin. I thought Joss and Rogan made up. Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I think they made up, but I don't think they're like as tight as
they're not like best friends.
They're not doing their like nudie pics together anymore. CT is very handsome when he was in his prime and how he is now. He could be a model. I remember Joss making that same comment once too about CT in his prime. Like CT was very handsome in his prime. Those big blue eyes and when he had his hot little body and his little Boston accent. I can't do Boston really well.
Boston accent.
Talk to Cod, Harvard Yard. Like, I can't do it. Okay, I love ending on our crushes. I mean, all these people are very attractive and good looking. I don't think anybody's unattractive that they have on
Kahada. One of my crushes was always Kahada too.
Really? He's
when him and Nani had their fake love where they would cuddle and then she fucked someone the one night he was away. Like, so sad. But I was just always like, Kahada and Kelly Ann's love. Even though she fucked around with him too in Real World Sydney. I just always had a soft spot for Kahada.
Yeah, he's baby angel.
Baby angel. That's exactly what it is. I wish he had been on this season. He was one of the alternates. So I hope we see him at some point in the future.
Must.
So wouldn't that be a good exes duo?
Oh my God. They would be great. A little small, both, but like they would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Well, this has been fabulous talking to you guys about this episode. Do you have any final thoughts that we didn't cover? We're on to our crushes. Anything else? No? Anybody else have anything to say in the chat? Or is this it?
This is it.
I'm
excited for like the rest of the season and to see how this final is going to go. It's going to be fun. And it's just been such a nice a nice
Yeah,
contrast.
it's
going.
made me go back and start watching all these seasons. I'm just like binge watching a season every day. It's actually really funny. Oh, I don't know. Okay, we don't know who he is. Okay, so JP from X on the Beach, Brazil. I have not seen that, Natalie. If you can, how do you watch it? If
X
you
on the
have
Beach,
like
Brazil.
I mean, I love X on the Beach. It's such trash. It's fabulous. Have you watched any of them, Michelle?
I've seen clips, but to be honest, I've never fully. I watched the one with Marie.
Watch
And
the
Devin?
UK ones, Michelle.
Okay.
The UK ones are so messy, and you also meet Ashley Joss, I think, was on there. Kaylee was from there. Like they were all from
Kaylee. Yeah.
X on the Beach as well. Kaylee did Big Brother, where she was kicked off of Big Brother.
Oh, right. He was on War of the Worlds.
Oh, him! Yes. He's cute. He's definitely cute.
Yeah.
But I was pissed at him for calling out CT there, where it was basically him, CT, and Kyle doing like a 3-way pole wrestling thing, but they were both going against CT, and so CT wasn't able to fend them both off, so Kyle was able to win there. And so I was pissed at JP for not thinking more strategically, and instead he should have picked someone that JP could beat, as opposed to basically making both him and CT lose. So yes, he was handsome though, Jorge. Natalie, yes. Okay, gotcha. Maybe I will watch now. No, thank you, Jorge. It was definitely fun. We will see you guys all again next week at 10 p.m. Eastern. This season is a perfect palate cleanser for double agent. Yes, we'll take another spoonful of OGs, please. Thank you. Will the All-Stars do a reunion? I did hear there is going to be a reunion, but it's going to be hosted by, I should have written it down. I thought I would.
Oh, it's two people.
I don't know who it is. I don't know who they are.
It's a football player. That's
a
all
football player and some other girl that I didn't know who they like a wrestler or something. Like I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
And I don't know where I saw it. I thought I saved it, or if I didn't save whatever it was.
Oh, here it is. Maria Menounos.
Oh, that's okay. That was who it was. It was Maria Menounos. Can you show the picture?
And Nathaniel E. Burleson, who is they just have a treasure chest of never-ending football players
that need to host the challenge reunion. All right. Well, Maria Menounos could be okay.
Good.
She could potentially be a fan, and we just don't know it. So that would be exciting. Yes, I got you. So yeah, it will be. So you know the drill, guys. Please do us a big favor and subscribe right now to Reality Realness with 3 S's right down over there. And if you do subscribe, I'm still taking people in for the draw. So we're going to be doing the draw within the next couple of weeks. As soon as YouTube approves this account as being officially at 1,000, then I'll do the draw for a $100 gift certificate to Amazon US. And if you're in Canada, I'll give you $100 cash if you prefer that. So just subscribe, send a screenshot to Reality Realness with 3 S's, and I'll get you in there. I believe she's done the reunion before. Possibly. I don't really remember all those. Again, why not Devin? I don't know before we sign off, why not Devin? For real. What is the deal here?
I know. It's a problem.
They
She's
have
so great.
contracts and stuff, and it probably has to do with how many followers these people have and what their draw could be.
She wants the job as much as we want her to have the job, it seems. So
it's annoying. I like that she goes in, and people talk to her, be like, do you remember that time when we were on this challenge together? You know what I mean? I like them having that relationship. And so I don't know. It's kind of like how Jeff Probst now does. He didn't always do the reunion and stuff like that for Survivor. It was remember, it was Rosie O'Donnell, and it was Brian. I think it was Brian Gumbel once, and it was that didn't really work because they're doing it as a news thing as opposed to somebody that's getting the tea out of these players about the season that they were all a part of. So I think it's a missed opportunity for sure.
I agree.
Lastly, yes, she was the reunion host for Rivals. Okay, I'm going to watch that because I did just watch Rivals yesterday. So I'm going to check her out and see if I stan Maria Menounos as the host here. You guys plugging anything, or are we just saying sayonara?
I'm saying sayonara, and yeah, definitely nothing going on except getting a vaccine next week.
Woo!
So excited. I'm going on
Yay!
Sunday. Gonna
Look
get
You're
at
going
you
when?
guys go. I
Sunday.
just don't leave my house, but eventually I will have to do so. Love you guys. I'll see you soon.